Hey y'all, Nico here. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for joining me. I'm Nico. Today's video is another yoga pose tutorial where I teach you how to get into some of yoga's more commonly used poses and just give you modifications and tips on how to do them. So today's video is headstand, also known as Shavasana, sometimes known as Salamba Shavasana. A lot of people have been asking me about inversions because they might have seen me on TikTok or they might have seen me on Instagram or some of the short videos on here doing inversions. And so I'm going to warn you now, inversions are very hard and they can also just be very dangerous if you don't have anybody spotting you or if you don't have some kind of support. So if you don't feel like you're quite strong enough to get there yet, I wouldn't recommend doing them. I've also heard of various things about not doing inversions if you have high blood pressure. So just do your research first and talk to your doctor if you need to about doing these kinds of poses. But we definitely want to make sure we are safe and that we're doing the poses in the safest way possible. So use modifications as needed and don't do the pose if you're not ready. So I want to start standing. Before that, some good benefits of Shavasana are that it can get your blood flow going because of the inversions, because of the head being over the heart being over the head. It can also increase your focus because you kind of have to focus to keep your body in alignment and keep yourself balanced. And it can also strengthen your shoulders and your arms, amongst a bunch of other benefits. So I want us to start standing because I want you to kind of think about what the alignment of your body needs to be when you move into Shavasana. So you kind of want to think about being in mountain pose, which is also known as Tadasana, but you're just going to be in that pose inverted. So when you're in mountain pose, you want to align the shoulders over the hips over the knees. So sometimes you kind of slightly have to tuck that tailbone down, engage the core a little bit, pull that belly button back towards the spine slightly. Being in alignment here, chin is parallel to the floor, shoulders are relaxed away from the ears, but when we're inverted, we're going to be engaging our shoulders. We still don't want them to be up and tight. We want them to be away from the ears and active and engaged. So just think about that. Almost think about kind of pulling your shoulder blades close to each other and opening the chest and the front of the shoulders here. Because again, we want that to be active. We want to use that. We don't want a whole lot of pressure in the top of our head. So we do need to use our arms and our shoulders to help bring us into alignment. So just get a feel for Tadasana first. And this is kind of how you want to feel when you're in the inversion, aligning your body up to help you balance better. So let's go ahead and get down on our mat. If you're a beginner, I would recommend getting a pillow that can kind of be nice and flat. This one's a little bit fluffy, but it can get flat. Or a blanket folded that you can rest the top of your head on, because this can be a lot of pressure on the top of your head. And again, we just want to be safe. So what we want to do to begin is come on all fours, and then we're going to come down to our elbows. We want our biceps facing the front of the room, and we're going to clasp our hands together. Now, when we get ready to move into the inversion, we want our hands, our wrists, our arms pressing down through the mat, and we want to engage our shoulders like I mentioned before. So get yourself, if you have your blanket, make sure it's there for you, because again, this is can be a lot of pressure on the top of your head. So we are going to step our feet back and then start to walk our feet up towards our head and bring the top of your head onto the ground. So right now is a good time to check in and engage the shoulders, making sure they're away from the ears. Press into the wrists, press into the hands, press into the arms. And then we want to begin to try to bring our body into alignment. So we're walking those feet up, starting to stack our body, getting our body ready. You can bring one foot up. And then when you're feeling comfortable, You can maybe bring the other up by bending the knee first and then extending the leg. Sometimes it does take a couple tries. And again, get close to a wall if you need to. And just engage the body like you would in your Tadasana. So it looks a lot easier than it is. If your body starts to get wobbly, go ahead and come out of the pose. That's when you could start to be injured. So if you get wobbly, bring yourself out of the pose. If there's a lot of pressure on the top of your head, go ahead and come out of the pose. You might not be ready yet, or you might just need to practice a little more to get this upper body strong. So let's try it again. Pinkies, hands, wrists, forearms are pressing into the ground. And you might not be quite at the part where you're lifting your feet off the ground yet. You might be comfortable, or you might be better off just learning by walking your feet up first and then eventually getting your feet off the ground. So the top of my head comes to the ground. I'm going to walk my feet up. I'm pressing into the ground with my hands. I'm firming up my shoulders. This might be all you do, and you can practice bringing one foot off the ground at a time. And then if you feel like you're ready to attempt, again, think about firming up those shoulder blades. Engage your body here. Make it active. And then come down. And then when you come out of the pose, you just want to come out slowly to protect your neck. So that is my Shavasana tutorial. Again, be very careful when you're practicing. I don't want anybody to hurt themselves in this, because again, you can really mess yourself up. So just take your time, practice just walking your feet up, making that upside down V shape. And then maybe when you're ready to try to lift your feet off the ground, make sure you have someone around to spot you, or make sure you're near a wall, because this pose does take some strength. So it might take some time to build that up. So leave a comment down below letting me know what you think of this pose tutorial. If you tried it, if you are going to try it later, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Peace and love.